Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Today we are going to organize a roundtable discussion as part of the Intelligent Business online space, 100% Tatarstan. It's a two-week digital platform in order to showcase the achievements of the Republic of Tatarstan, to promote its positive image both on the regional and international level, and to develop new digital platforms on interaction with the population, between population and agencies and departments of the government. The sports industry is part of the national economy, and here it is closely connected with the production and sales and investment in sport industry. And recently we see the heavy development and heavy investment in the sports infrastructure and the overall development of sport in our country. And nowadays sports is challenged with the new tasks, moving on from the state to private financing support and financing funding, and it allows to find new opportunities, but at the same time put new challenges. And we're going to discuss them today with our experts. I'd like to discuss the best practices of the public-private partnership and examples of interaction and cooperation in the sports sphere in the Republic of Tatarstan. And that is why we have our guest today on board, the chairman of the Director Board's Competence Center on the PPP development, the expert in the PPP in the sports industry, Yelena Tsandakova, Director General of the Aqua Region Company, Evgeny Akman. Vadim Yengerov, the CEO of the Timmerman Initiative, the founder of the cluster Novy Sport, sports producer and marathon runner. Dimitrov Murat, the author of the special sports project Green Fitness, the head of the corporation Youth, Sports Youth, and the aide to the president on these issues, and the entrepreneur. So the PPP issues nowadays, we would like to, discussing this problem, we'd like to speak about the interaction between the way the regional and federal bodies of government are interacting. And nowadays the federal agency is setting an important task, and they interact the new ways of the interaction between all these levels. And our expert Yelena would like to listen to your point of view. What are the mechanisms of interaction in the PPP are simulated by the federal authorities, and what experience you've accumulated as a regional agency? Hello to you, friends, and I would like to thank you for inviting me to participate in this event, in this roundtable discussion. Yeah, very good name, 100% Tatarstan, because Republic of Tatarstan already is a historical and landmark republic, because you are the first on implementing the Federal Law 224, and specifically on municipal level. The public-private partnership is about the teamwork, and it's important to note that the Republic of Tatarstan showed a very joint, a well-aligned work, and within a very short period of time we additionally come up with agreement, like additional agreement that was previously signed, and it was approved. So it was a very important thing to do. Also, you received some federal funding, and quite in a few days we will witness opening one facility in Nabережные Челны. That again was achieved thanks to the teamwork. You have very good experts who actually sharing the experience with other regions, and I would like to thank you, the Minister of Sport of the Republic of Tatarstan, because we worked very closely, and that was very beneficial. I would like to thank the Tatarstan Investment Development Agency, Ms. Talia Minulina, that she's second to none, a truly unique lady, something that is just a dream she's putting into reality. And I think that put a lot of burden, and we saw how great that work is, and tomorrow I'll fly to you, and I will see that facility with my own eyes. As for the federal level, there were many changes that took place, and we have both pros and cons, advantages and some hiccups. And most regions, colleagues, are not ready for these changes. And now we inevitably have to use the tools of the PPP 1556 decree, according to which in order to get the financial support from the federation, from federal level, you have to use the PPP mechanisms from the 1st of January of 2021. So it means that you have to come up with some public initiative, because private initiatives, there are not many of them. They're quite rare occasions. I would say it's only about the Republic of Tatarstan and 11 more regions, because investors at the moment are not ready to work using this format of public-private partnerships. So it's very hard to calculate all these economic issues and to get some profit and return on investment for investors. So the population not ready to employ this format of providing the services for and any funds. And since we have the special federal and public funds, and many people think that all the services should be provided for free. Some projects are quite weak. They are not well structured, and in many regions they don't put these commercial mechanisms that will bring some benefits in the future. But the project implemented in Tatarstan is one of the best, and actually we are scaling up and disseminating information about that project. And we would like to thank Evgeny Mikhailovich for his participation. And now our project is being agreed by the Intergovernmental Commission on Minister of the Sports, and we renew our work, and Evgeny Mikhailovich joined that group in order to address the most relevant issues. And it's important to highlight that we have Vadim. I'm very happy to see you, Vadim, because the projects that you initiated and you are promoting, they're really important for the projects that are actually implemented as part of the PPP, because the collaboration and the partnership are a very useful tool. And we have to speak about it and to make it so it should go public. And everybody should know about that. And as far as I know, you have a lot of projects using the PPP mechanisms. And of course, we should share the efforts and should jointly raise awareness. But that experience should be further disseminated and scaled up at the regional level, I mean, throughout Russia, because such interaction, the Republic of Tatarstan is definitely the leader, but sometimes it goes very, very slow. The most of the colleagues try to apply Federal Law 44, but it's inevitably that it's compulsory to use this the PPP mechanisms. It's very, I would say, brand new initiative when the federations bring the money through the investors. So a lot of work should be done. The Minister of Sports is planning to come up with some guidelines on gradual actions to be taken by regions that already implemented these projects, and some funds were allocated to them. So it's all about the roadmaps, the minutes of the working sessions organized in other regions. So the project management solutions in the Republic of Buryatia, so they just decided to use these mechanisms to build and finance the construction of ice rinks. So we'll go deep into this documentation work, and we are going to sign the Ministry of Sport and the Interregional Center for the PPP on the premises of the Rosinfo company. We'll have our own site where you can upload all the projects on the physical training, best practices, so you can take advantage of this database. So you can upload your own projects. The expert will analyze and will assess at the preliminary stage, which is very important, because the supervision and accompanying of such projects, it's a hard task to do for the regions, because 1 to 10% are all about the consulting services. I mean, this monitoring and supervising these PPP projects. So we'll do our best to provide all the needed support. Once again, the Republic of Tatarstan is one of my favorite regions, because you contributed a lot to my professional development as a PPP expert in the sports sphere, and I'll do my best to help you as much as I can. And that's certainly what I wanted to say. And wrapping up my presentation, I would like to say that it's necessary to use the public partnership solutions, and the Minister of Sports is doing a great job on raising awareness and and we did it in 2018. It was about just the images and some small presentations about the projects implemented, but now it will be more of a systematic analysis of the cases, all the pros and cons, and unfortunately in many of the regions we didn't put the risks taken by the colleagues. For example, Voronezhsk district, where they put into operation their facility, and they have some problems dealing with the control agencies, and as for the operation costs. And actually, that's the task of the Ministry of the Sports of the Russian Federation, our intergovernmental or interdepartmental commission, to calculate the social load in order to avoid too much of a burden for the investor. So that's the work that we're going to do to further raise awareness, and I guess the Republic of Tatarstan and our colleagues will help us actively. So you will actively join in, and I know that colleagues from the Ministry of Sport instruct and share the information with other regions, and we have the video conference with Vasily Maslikov, and they asked for some contacts of the specialists from the Republic of Tatarstan, corresponding ministry. That's basically it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them shortly. Thank you very much. Yelena, thank you very much for your contribution in the name of the Minister of Sport of Russia, and you personally. We see how much you support the initiatives, and as for the reimbursing the investment and the costs of the regions, and we participated in that project. It's very interesting and efficient program for the regions that will actually stimulate the development of infrastructure, and also it will contribute to strengthening relations as part of the public-private partnership mechanisms. And the new introductions that were suggested and were submitted for the regions. First, you participate in the contest, you have to publish it, and the regions will have to do a lot in that terms, because the project should be compiled with a due consideration of the investors' goals and interests, because that project will be interesting for investor a year or two in advance before submitting the application to federal agencies. We have to do that work, and we have the team of specialists, and I think we'll be actively involved in the implementation of that project. Thank you very much. And as Yelena said, we implementing that project, the construction of the recreation and healthcare center. The total area of the complex is 4.5 thousand square meters, and investor provided the flock of land with some incentives. The construction should be finished the fourth quarter of the 2021, and we launched the first stage. And here the experience of constructing the different sites using the municipal and private partnership. This experience will be shared by Mikhail Weiner, the way they built it in Nabережные Челны. Hello, thank you very much for coming to our Tatarstan Investment Development Agency and for asking a few questions and being interviewed here. Tell us a few words about your organization. We know that next year it will celebrate 25th anniversary. That's a very important date specifically for Russia. Well, in a due time, we had an idea that we shouldn't go in reselling and selling some products and services for people. We should do something beneficial and really important. We thought a bit, and we believe that in mid of 1990s, there were a lot of construction materials, hydraulic isolation, insulation systems, and different innovative technologies. And we became aware that we're working in the Zakham'yr region, and the petrochemical and energy and construction industry potential, and all those facilities were built, and actually 30 years were over, and I mean, soon there will be some companies that will be able to conduct different work on recovery, the bearing functions of these concrete and steel structures, and that's actually how we initiated our company. We established it from the scratch, having nothing but the commitment, a few personal funds and some experience and knowledge. We just talked to different partners, and we were accumulating some experience, finding new partners, And actually, we are set the pace and the trends for development of the hydraulic insulation materials, and with the help of our partners from Moscow region, from different scientific science and research institutes, and with the help of their contribution, we were able to implement what we planned and effectively managing the system, the money that we made, and we were able to, we succeeded in further developing our company further. So, 25 years, that's just the beginning, and the plans that we have so far allow us, even in this challenged and turbulent economic situations, to make some plans and look into the future with confidence. So, the first project for the public-private partnership is the construction of the sports facility in the city of Nabережные Челны. Can you tell us about the specificity of that project? Well, that project is unique in terms of its symbiosis of, or synergy of two incompatible services and products, actually, that will show that you'll be that our clients will be able to use. That's brand new, automated, with a state-of-the-art technologies and the format, the fitness center, with a full-fledged scope of services and the thermal unit, special, that could be visited and attended by the club members and any guests in order to get the best treatment for relaxation, recovery after some physical training or after labor activity, or spend your weekend with your family and enjoy all the opportunities and options of the thermal treatment services of different water treatment, open air, swimming pool that is open 24/7 all year round. And we study a lot of international experience, what our foreign colleagues and partners have. So in the complex that is built in the city of Nabережные Челны will be a good example how to do it in the proper way, in the right way. That's probably the main specificity. Could you tell us, please, what problems you were challenged with during the signing that municipal or private-public partnership agreement? Well, the HOT project is all about challenges, I would say, because you said that we were the first. There is no roadmap that was actually implemented by any other predecessors. To some extent, we just went with the flow and followed our intuition and what we thought to be right. We were much supported by experts of the Tatarstan Investment Development Agency, and we signed our own agreement with the executive committee of the Nabережные Челны administration, and all the staff members and personnel that were involved. They supported a lot, and thanks to our joint work, discussion of different issues, we were capable of moving forward. And unless we have this teamwork, we would achieve nothing. So what about the next steps in terms of the implementation? Well, currently we are commissioning and putting into operation. It's just a few days left before we launch it. Well, the first stage of our complex is a fitness center itself, 4.5 thousand square meters of total area. And it has 1,310 changing locks, changing cells, and it's 100% ready for the operation. And we invested 2/3 of the funds from the overall amount of funding, and we are actually working on the installation in the second stage of the thermal complex, and by the 15th of September we'll have the fully insulated complex, and we will have just to cover decoration and interior final finishing problems. So are you planning further employ the advantages of the public-private partnership mechanism. So it's hard to say. We see actually the economic situation is rather volatile, and any order, any investment idea should be well discussed, considered, analyzed. The model that we developed and evolved is functional, efficient, because we know how to operate these type of facilities, because we have the experience of operating two facilities of a similar kind, and as speaking from experience, it's quite profitable and brings some revenue. That's important. There is one important factor, is the availability of the land where you can implement this project, and the cost of the loans, because you won't find personal funding in order to invest, because we don't have it for now. Can you tell about the project, the new sports facility? Actually, I have already said, the Clever Sport, it's 6,000 square meters of the total area, 4,000 of which is the fitness center. I think we have one of the biggest gyms, or with the different tools, which has 9 zones of different physical training, 1,600 square meters of total area, one whole. And the second part of the complex, the 1.5 thousand square meters, with a glass, with a very good view, with a picture scenery behind these glass walls, and with on the local river, with the saunas and the swimming pools were open 21st all year round. There will be 11 saunas, where different counter streams, different baths, cold and hot, with a and nape track. The specialists know what it is. The special 300 square meters zone for families, where the families can spend the time with their kids, special thermal zone, and enjoy all the opportunities.
How efficient was the interaction between the business and the state? What is your opinion? Well, I believe in our case the efficiency was 100%. Let me name once again all those who helped us. Those are all the leaders and the specialists of the Agency of Investment Development of Tatarstan, people from the municipality of Kazan, from the ministries of sport of both Russia and Tatarstan. We appreciate the efforts of all those people. And today, what we have is the model and the roadmap of how such projects could be implemented. Let me stress once again, we were pioneering in this field. We worked without agreement, without any approved ways, but it worked out. Sergey, please tell us what a private partner could, what support a private partner could get after being involved in a PPP. Well, support in case of every individual project will be different. Every project needs its own kind of support, financial or legal or organizational. So the team that is created for the realization of the project is the main support. In our case, we have the opportunity to use funds, the target funds of the Ministry of Sports of Russia, and we managed to formalize this subsidy together with the municipality of Chelny, the Ministries of Sport of Russia and Tatarstan. We managed to obtain this subsidy, this government subsidy. It took us 1.5 years, but in May this year we got it, and this was the most critical moment where we need additional financing for the first stage. How risky are the PPP mechanisms for business? What is your opinion? Well, any project and any type of business is an entrepreneurial risk. Business is a way of finding compromises, trade-offs. So being good in your field, being experienced, being committed are the risks in this situation. The project is all the same, but the implementation form is different. You have been an interpreter, you were an interpreter since long ago. Which industry in Tatarstan requires more attention in Tatarstan? Could you tell us? It seems like all the industries are developing well in Tatarstan. There are many interesting, promising projects, and I would say that any industry has opportunities like that. Any program, any legislative initiatives of the state are aiming to push the business community to take business decisions in order to implement some nice ideas. The rest, the fertile ground, is there for you in Tatarstan. You only need to find the seeds that will grow and bloom. What do you think will change in Tatarstan in 10 years? Tatarstan will change just like the rest of the world, but I believe we will be among the first in our country to live these changes. The only thing I would like for myself is to see them while I'm still alive and not be dreaming about them. And the last question, what would you recommend entrepreneurs in participating in PPPs? Much like everyone who made the entrepreneurial risk a norm of their life, I would like to wish you to think of your health. Thank you. This is an interesting field for Tatarstan when a private investor makes his initiative public. So it brings many pluses for Chile, both in terms of developing sports infrastructure and creating new jobs and creating new places for recreation and relaxation in Tatarstan. This is a joint work that is likely to bring many results, including tax revenues and paybacks. And now let me give the floor to Yengir Vadim. Please tell us about your experience of implementing PPP projects and the potential of PPP in Tatarstan and Russia. Thank you, Almas. Good morning, colleagues. It's pleasing to see familiar faces here. We have been working with you side by side for many years. As was said before, Tatarstan is one of the pioneers in Russia in public-private partnership. Let me dive a bit into history. That was started not by us, but let's remember Hafiz Salihov, the president of Track and Field Federation of Tatarstan. He went abroad to study the public-private partnership topic, and he was among the first to bring the PPP to Tatarstan. And now we see how wide PPP is implemented in Tatarstan, and we are being taken as a role model by others. I would like to discuss and to state that public-private partnership is a cooperation with mutual profitability, which implies that both parties benefit and reach their goals, both the state and the private partner. The state aims to reach their social goals. Private investor primarily seeks a career project, and this win-win strategy, as I believe, is the founding, is the basic one. and a correct decision was taken by the Ministry of Sports of Russia. Maybe it's too advanced for our time, very advanced for our time, that sports projects must be implemented in the form of public-private partnerships. We are working in the event industry, in the industry of sports events. Being a private individual, when I formed proposals for the state, I realized that mutual interests need to be accounted for. Let me tell you about the history of Kazan Marathon. Today, Kazan Marathon, let me be a bit optimistic. It's profitable for the state. It improves image. It goes together with many other projects. Kazan Marathon ranks second in terms of participants, and it is a strong image project for Tatarstan. The second reason is very important. We popularize healthy lifestyle and amateur sports, and I can answer to myself that many projects declared as social projects, they declare the achievement of these goals. We can bring you figures. Last year, this marathon was attended by 25,000 people, and in general, this series of events attracted more than 50,000 people. A very serious benefit is the economic effect for the state. Marathons bring significant economic effect for the location they are held at, because it attracts a lot of tourists. One athlete that takes part in the marathon brings an average of one supporter or friend, and the economic effect for Kazan, where this marathon is held, is more than 200 million rubles. This is a serious argument for the public-private partnership, and I believe that it's important to understand and accept it, let alone develop it. On the other hand, I can tell you that the authorities, the executive authorities, pay a lot of attention to the infrastructural projects under PPP. We implement projects in the event industry. Sometimes we are short of certain recommendations, regulations, some legal support, some clue of how this public-private partnership is regulated in other infrastructures. We are pioneering here as well. Sometimes we step on the untouched ground. Sometimes we become the first in something and become able then to share our experience. And we would like to have support from the Federal Center here, of course, regarding the event benchmarks, the benchmark events. It's very important. After completing the 5-year lab stage, we realized that these projects are beneficial for both the state and the investor. It's hard to find an investor to have their investments paid back in a year. It takes maybe 3 or 5 years, and only after that mutual profitability starts. That's as relates to events. You asked me about the outlooks of the PPP in the sports. Let me share with you a project that we intend to implement, an infrastructural project, but that's not about major sports facilities, but rather about smaller facilities. We have a strong wish to create this win-win strategy for placing small sports halls at secondary schools. The benefit from the state is to overcome the deficit of sports halls in secondary schools, public secondary schools, regarding the benefits for the general public, is to overcome this deficit. Even in Kazan, where there is a high provision of sports halls, there is sometimes deficit. You sometimes cannot find a football hall to play with friends. Regarding sports halls that would be used by school children one half of the day, and that could be available on a pay basis for general public in the evenings. This is the example of applying the win-win philosophy in the field of even not sports, but the physical education of staying fit, because around the corner arenas are the places that can attract most people, and that would benefit everyone. So I believe that the public-private partnership is today's topical trend and tomorrow's trend. I have been studying this topic for a while, and I agree with Yelena that there are few investors to come to this field. Why are they few? Because the payback and the return on investment story is not simple. It will take time. So finding a consensus, finding the correct shares of financing by the state and by the private investor is the task to be resolved in the near term. The projects need to be completed. When we attract a private investor, the first thing they are interested in is to return their investments and get the payback, while the state's tasks are different. And the great future of the PPP is on the overlap of these fields. It should also be understood how to translate it to infrastructure, to projects, but to other projects as well, including the production of sports articles, IT, that comes a lot to our life. And assets there are not only the services rendered, but also huge big data gathered. And here we need to go side by side, hand in hand, and not in silos. Public should go together with private, and they should look for joint interests, not only in terms of investments, but also in terms of assets acquired in the IT sphere. And this field of activity is where a lot can be achieved. Private management has proved to be more efficient. Private investors are more motivated in efficiently managing projects. They have, when they have a direct interest. So this is my position, and I assert once again that I have a big faith in public-private partnership. Thank you, Vadim. Small sports facilities can cause a great interest of the investors, because we have built a lot under federal and Republican programs to start training young athletes, major swimming pools, sports halls, ice rinks, but the infrastructure in the secondary schools and elsewhere with a lot of people and little land is still topical. So building small sports halls, especially after the 2018 World Cup, is especially urgent, and we, together with the Ministry of Sport and Investment Development Agency, will provide the best conditions and support the documentation processing to provide to make it real. Regarding the production of sports goods, there are many producers in Russia, some 300 sports items manufacturers, but the share of Russian production is low, maybe some 10% according to the Ministry of Sports. So a lot of work should be done both in Russia and Tatarstan. There are fields that are being developed in Tatarstan. Zarnitsa small architectural factory. Chelny produced hockey sticks at Denis Zarypov's factory. Ice rink, hockey arena, boards, walls. Certain benefits are used here for business, and our goal is to attract as many goods manufacturers as possible to Tatarstan. Next, let me give the floor to Murat, the author of Green Fitness Project, a social project, social sports project. Murat, please tell us what Green Fitness offers its partners, what the cooperation is built on, and what are the popular fields for implementation under your project. Good day, dear viewers. As exemplified by the Green Fitness, we can tell you that public-private partnership was discovered by chance. We developed free trainings outdoors. We had some expenses to be covered, and we thought how to evolve the story and scale it up to districts of Tatarstan and beyond Tatarstan. Then we realized that our actions and tasks we undertake could be interesting for both state and business. So for us, for a social project, a chance popped up of this three-party cooperation. So there is a Green Fitness project, and our goal became to build up a balance of interests. For the state, what we do is to involve people to healthy lifestyle and sports. We are building a catalog of free of charge trainings outdoors, and according to our experience, I don't know much of a theory, but everything we achieved is through private experience. For a commercial company, as I believe, there are two interests.
Well, first, the company is interested to promote its image, its reputational promotion. That's all about major companies. For example, there is a Tatneft company, our general partner, and they are more about the promotion of their reputation and the support that they provide to us. And also, there are some advertisement interest on the part of the commercial companies. And all investors are interested of their investment being paid back. But it could be image promotion or like advertisement benefit. What I mean here, speaking about the social project. Well, for example, there is some kind of product. We have the Tatneft gas station center that was about to stimulate the sales and to sell more fuel. And using this free of charge training, we come up with the advertisement. And for that, the people after this training will get some magnets and special offers that will be provided to them in the gas stations, Tatneft gas stations. Thus, we stimulate increase the sales of our general partner, and through the social project, we see the benefits of our project. So we might be interested for this, for the government, as the systematic addressing some problems of increasing the activity of the population. As for the business, it's the active promotion of their products and services. What else I would like to highlight? It's an open secret for everybody that all social projects, it's clear that the public-private partnership is all about infrastructure project. But anyway, any social project, when you apply for a grant program, everywhere they ask you to show the co-finance mechanism. So the state, for example, they say they will allocate some funds for your project, but make sure find some partner that they will cover other part of expenses. And any person that is implementing social project, he's quite aware that it's not enough to ask for money from the state, but you have to find some efficient, interesting tools for commercial part to find this win-win base solution, this synthesis and this energy. So we distributed the partnership that we have as part of this Green Fitness project. We have the general official partners, there are information partners, and there is a exchange partners. And in order to implement some social projects, sometimes it's enough just to find some exchange partners that maybe not cover your expenses with providing of money, but they can give you some equipment, some tools, or the expert that you need at that moment. And that's the way you can realize some social projects without any finance spent. So I think the public-private partnership is an efficient way of promoting our practices, and the Green Fitness is being implemented in 38 regions and 300,000 people, and we organize regular systematic trainings every day. We are in the studio now, and at this very moment some people in different cities going for sport, and it makes my heart beating faster. It inspires me. Some instrument that we found, some tool that we found, that it really works and it brings the benefit. Thank you very much. And the implementation of the infrastructure as part of the PPP or other ways, we have that experience, but with a due consideration of the challenges that we are faced with as part of the national projects, and we have to increase the number of people going as for sport and physical training up to 55% by 2024 and up to 57% in the Republic of Tatarstan. In implementation of the social projects, give a lot of impetus to people to go in for sports, to go further, take up other physical training, to practice sports. So I'd like to thank you guys for implementing of these initiatives and social projects. And I think that there are some questions that we have to address jointly, and there are some problems as part of the PPP. It's all about the investors' interests on implementation of this project, and of course risks that Yelena mentioned and our colleagues shared with us. But through piloting these projects, we'll come up with some initiative on introducing some changes to the federal law on the PPP and the municipal and private partnership, and the State Council and the government of the Republic of Tatarstan come up with a proposal to improve the burden that the investors take if they take part in the implementation of this project. I would like to thank every participant of our roundtable discussion, and I think that Tatarstan and Russia will increase the number of the projects and will serve as a good model not only for the colleagues and other regions, but also for our international colleagues and partners. Thank you very much for your participation.